So welcome back to this debate on Division of Andhra Pradesh, the challenges and the opportunities that flow from out. Dr. Jay Prakash, what will be the political implications of the division in terms of bargaining power or maneuvering ability in the seat of power of the country, that is Delhi?
Undoubtedly, Andhra Pradesh has been a watershed, the division of this state, because for the first time in our history, the parliament has acted without the unanimous consent of the state legislature. Earlier, while the constitution was somewhat ambiguous, the parliament always acted on the state's consent. And Mr. L.K. Advani, earlier as Home Minister of India, actually stated in parliament that the current dispensation must be interpreted to mean that if the state wants something, it need not be mandatory. It is for the parliament to decide finally. But if the state doesn't want something, it shall not be done. But that was breached in Andhra Pradesh, and the federal principle has now been established that the parliament has the supreme power irrespective of what the state legislature wants. Therefore, theoretically, if you command a parliamentary majority, it is possible now to create many, many more states. But I would say that may not happen in such a dramatic manner except in a state like UP, where perhaps 200+ million population, there is a desperate need to create more states. It probably will take some more time in the rest of the country. A, because the current government under Mr. Modi has a clear majority in parliament on its own, even without the alliance partners. B, there is a perception that there is a very strong leader who is in command. And C, the first priority of this government and perhaps the nation also, we all agree broadly, is economic management, not political restructuring of the country, except decentralization in general is necessary, but not really reorganization of states. And therefore, perhaps in the short term, it may not manifest in any dramatic restructuring of Indian federal map, but in the long term, certainly the roadmap has been created, a precedent has been established, and therefore, in the next 25 years or so, I do anticipate many more states being formed with or without the consent of the state legislature.
Dr. Jay Prakash Narayan, you have known the system so pretty well, and also you have been watching how things are unfolding. In a nutshell, what are the brief challenges that you foresee for the people and the new government of Andhra Pradesh to face? Because generally it is said this region has to start from the scratch.
This is the first time that a major city, which is an economic hub and gatherer of a major portion of the tax revenues, is now going to the new state. And therefore, to that extent, there will be a short-term fiscal problem for about a decade or so. But we have taken care of that. In the amendments to the bill, as well as the pronouncements of the Prime Minister, it was clearly understood that the state's fiscal deficits or revenue deficits will be met for the foreseeable future for about 10 years or so. And two, because most industrialization has been in and around Hyderabad city, we require to give a stimulus to industrialization elsewhere. And therefore, some kind of special category status with the tax exemptions in order to stimulate investment and economic growth and job creation would be required. The third, both the states require infrastructure. For instance, interior Telangana districts require communications. There is going to be a significant power shortage in Telangana. There is going to be a serious power problem in Coast Andhra Rayalaseema also. And education, for some time there have to be shared facilities, but eventually you have to create many institutions across both the states, because almost everything worthwhile building was built or created in Hyderabad or around Hyderabad. The rest of the larger Andhra Pradesh state was ignored. Now we have to see that this imbalance is set right. These are the immediate challenges. But the real challenge is going to be infrastructure, particularly power, because the power sector is messed up by both the states now, the future states, because of bad politics, because of short-term freebies. The distribution management is appallingly bad. We have to do enormous work to improve distribution management and ensure that the power is available to industry for the asking. You create a separate grid, segregate agricultural lines from the industrial distributors and the feeder lines, and make sure that industrial investment will not be stalled on account of shortage of power. This is actually the central issue.
Okay.
Along with that, we have to make sure that an investment-friendly climate by curbing corruption, because Andhra Pradesh is arguably one of the most corrupt states in the country.
The United Andhra Pradesh.
United Andhra Pradesh, and now the new Andhra Pradesh also, I can say.
The same legacy will be there?
Yes, sadly. Because if you see the electoral expenditure, if you see this unbridled greed for power, lust for power, which is completely irrational, and this casteism prevalent, all these things are going to have consequences. So unless you create an investment-friendly climate, both in terms of curbing corruption and in terms of making an investor wanted, irrespective of caste, region, religion and political affiliation, both the states will suffer. Right now, they require to show that wisdom, that good sense, and they have to be, they must not kill the golden goose. Right now, there is a desperation to kill the golden goose, and ultimately, job creation is the central issue. What is Telangana movement about? It's about the Telangana kids saying, look, if we have our own state, hopefully we'll get our own jobs.
Okay.
Why is Andhra resisting that so far? Because if Hyderabad is going away, then there is a fear that there is no other job opportunity elsewhere. So it's all about jobs ultimately. Everything else is secondary.
Okay, others have something to add. Dr. Lakshmi Garu, as a management expert and focusing on issues related to administration and governance, it generally said small is beautiful, but some people also say big is beneficial. So through new small states, how do you expect them, the leadership, to really reprioritize and reposition the administrative system so that we have a better governance? That's what Prime Minister is harping on, and people's expectations also are going up. They want time-bound delivery of services, their entitlements. What suggestions do you have to make to these two new leadership in the two states?
Let us just think about the fall of TDP some time ago, that it happened that because the concentration was only towards a not the rural development but the urban development. He was focusing more on Hyderabad, especially the twin cities and all that. So what happened is that was a downfall because the people there in the urban rural development lost hope. So we should not try to identify based on just one particular region or district. We have to take the system as a whole. That is one issue. And also we have to build in confidence on capacity building, seeing that they are easily reachable to the poor and needy. That is something that has to be looked into. As as Dr. Jayaprakash Narangaru has actually brought the holistic picture into the thing, saying employment is a key issue here. Why did people migrate from all these rural areas to urban areas? Because of job employment. And this is something where you have to identify, seeing that you have job creations in these sectors. Build in education systems which are competent to the demand for skilled labor, whatever it is. That is something that people and students have to be. It's all the students' movement that's the key issue now, because there's uncertainty about who's going to be for the next decade or what. So that should be inbuilt with the system, and that capacity building and development of jobs and bringing in sort of identification that they are not having any issues in future, because health, family welfare, all these are some of the areas that we have to look into.
Thank you. Mr. Rajesh Rao, Telangana has one set of problems and Andhra Pradesh region has entirely different set of problems. Now the issue is Hyderabad has become a major hub of dynamic activity over the last 2-3 decades. Now the issue before the leadership of Telangana is how to sustain this momentum and spread it in a decentralized manner to the hitherto unreached regions of Telangana. And Andhra has a different problem because they have to start virtually, they have to start from nothing. So how do you briefly look at these challenges and what are the solutions that you can give to them?
I would like to answer in 3 different ways. The first one, capacity building, is very much required as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, because a lot of development has taken place when the larger Andhra Pradesh was there in Hyderabad. Having said that, capacity building should not be a competitive capacity building. I think there is a difference between these two. There has to be capacity building and it has to go to Simandra or Andhra Pradesh, but it should not be a competitive capacity building which draws out certain resources or the future prospects of Telangana. I think that is a very, very distinctive difference that we have to make, and unfortunately that is not thoroughly addressed, though Prime Minister seemed to have said that the industrialization is concerned, we will have the kind of a thing. That is first question. Second question, when it comes to Telangana, as I earlier said, the 6% of the Telangana's area is the entire development is here. Therefore, now we have to, how do you disperse the development? Yeah. Number one. Here I would say the hub and spoke method. That means you have a hub of development. Let this be an engine of growth. Let it not suffer. It must be allowed to grow, and with the revenues and with the other funding arrangements that you make, you have to distribute to the 9 districts. Is the power, last 5 years we have seen power has really destabilized the growth of the entire Andhra Pradesh.
Electricity.
Power. Therefore, availability of power. Now we are talking, we will build power plants after 3 years, 4 years, 5,000 megawatt, 4,000 megawatt. That is, it is just not going to come. immediate problem, as we all understood, is job creation. Job creation means the existing development must not be. We have already lost a lot of jobs in Hyderabad and other parts of the lack of power. So we have to resuscitate. We have to see that this is maintained. First thing, that means we have to find a solution which is a short term for this thing.
Cutting short the story, do you want a proper policy framework which will
Yeah,
check the
it has to be
playing
a
ground,
policy
or
framework. There is a tendency for the governments to do bigger things, long-term jobs.
Okay.
Always neglect the immediate term
And the remedies
issues.
that you have in mind, apply broadly the same to both the sides? They have different remedial packages need to be given?
No, but I think Andhra Pradesh has got a totally a different strategy, because
It is a
there
special
the
approach.
capital city building is
Okay.
there, capacity building, as
We'll
I
come back
said,
to you on that.
but it should not be a competitive capacity building.